Shalom, Kol Halal Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem Rakakodash. Honors to the elder apostles and PMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us this truth. And Shalom and salutations to all the brothers out pushing the word of truth and its sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David, and the brother Yashawan. And welcome to the World War III Daily Update. All right, and removed yesterday's because there was a discrepancy. That was my fault, and I'll do better. All right, so this is 2nd Ezra 13 for today's update. We'll start at 31, okay, because we're going to get right into World War III and how it's not going anywhere. Yesterday's video was about the mainstream media trying to convince everybody that the war is dying down and everything is going to go back to normal. And we went to the Canadian Prepper to show that it's not. So we'll kind of take up from there. This is 2nd Ezra 13 and 31. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, and one people against another, and one realm against another. This is all dealing with World War III, okay? Especially this part about one realm. And we'll do a quick excerpt on that. Jump down to 33. And when all the people hear his voice, okay, hear whose voice? The ones coming from the other realm, all right? All the people is referring to these people, every man in their own land, meaning the country that you're from, right? Every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another. That's World War III. All the countries fighting against each other, predominantly down in the valley of Yehoshaphat, which is the Middle East. All right. Now, quickly, let me finish this. And an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together. That's all the people fighting against each other, and all the countries fighting against each other in World War III shall be gathered together as thou sawest them, willing to come and to overcome him by fighting. Who's him? Who's his? All right. Well, that's the angels coming from the fourth dimension, a different realm. All right. Now let's take a look at that real quick. All right. This was in the news yesterday. I believe today is the 5th. This is the 4th. Okay, right here. This is New York Post, April 4, 2022. Now, this happened about a year ago, apparently, and now they're just coming out with it. Let's see. Reveal the reported sighting from October 2021. Okay, almost a year, or a couple of months back. Why are you so late in bringing it out? Let's watch a little bit of this. Let's see. Okay, so this ship, whatever it is, a battleship, says 2 balls of light. U.S. warship was chased by 2 car-sized balls of light, UFOs. All right, what is that? Those are the chariots coming from a different realm, the 4th dimension. Okay, is this not a warship? Okay. Well, these warships are about to be involved in World War III. Okay? So go back and watch this. New York Post, The Sun, a few different people are putting it out there. And of course, they're trying to control the narrative. The U.S. Navy warship was shadowed by 2 car-sized balls of light that were unaffected by anti-drone weapons, it is claimed. So they were shooting at these things, right? And they were unaffected. I wonder why. All right. Originally published by The Sun. So you can go check that out. Because this is all dealing with, okay, World War III. And because during World War III, these so-called balls of light, UFOs, are going to enter into the battle, right? As stated right here, Revelation. Let me get there real quick. Revelation, what is it? 11? No, so I'll get 12. Oh, we got a little resistance here. Revelation 12. All right, quickly. Let's get it. And there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. So we're already seeing, okay, let me get a quick visual of that. Oh, what do we got? I got to get it out of here. Hold on. Let's get this one. All right, just to give a little illustration. Let's read that again. It says, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. See them blue angels? That's that represents the dragon. That represents Michael. Okay. Heaven, in this case, is the sky and the heavens. Right? Okay. All right, so that's a little World War III update. What do you mean World War III update? Well, these chariots are already running, right? What do you call it? Surveillance. It says U.S. warship was chased. Okay. What do you call it when you send your spies down there to go assess the situation? Recon, reconnoiter. All right, the chariots were doing a recon, letting you know, hey, and letting you know right here. The warship was shadowed and were unaffected when they were being fired. Is that not war? You got these warships, right? And this warship, is that not a war? Do you know that the so-called UFO balls of light are submersible as well? So those are two Navy warships fighting against each other. They probably came up out of the water, and then were they're amphibious, if you will. All right, so enough of that. Now let's go to this guy who we had on yesterday and had to take it down. This is Canadian Prepper. April 4, I guess this was yesterday. And he's saying it's about to get real. Wait a minute. I thought that this thing was dying down and that Russia was leaving the area. This is what's being portrayed. And let's see if we can get that. What's being portrayed in the mainstream media. Let's see if we can get anything on that. Let's see. Russian troops leaving Kiev area. Right? This is what, and my point is that the West propaganda machine, right, is saying that, hey, the Ukrainians have gained Kiev back. All right, so in they're leaving. Russian troops pull back. Okay, but that's not the case. All right, this thing is escalating. So let's see what this guy is going to say.
Hi, folks. Canadian Prepper here. So I tried to take a day off. I really did. Things are accelerating too fast, so we need to talk about it. In the last 24 hours, a lot of news has come to light, and the big one is coming, guys. The things are shaping up for a major war in Europe, and we're going to talk about the reasons why.
Now, what we went into yesterday was Russia and Vladimir Putin. It's his desire to reform the Soviet Union. And the point that I was making yesterday was if the Ukraine falls back into line, as will some of the other countries that were liberated or separated during the Cold War, those countries are going to come back with better arms, with better soldiers. Okay, why? Because all the armaments and firepower that is being sent by these other countries to the Ukraine will be in the hands of the Ukraine and therefore in the hands of Russia when they reform the Soviet Union. All right? So they're going to be a bigger and better and stronger army than they were before, simply by virtue of that fact. All right? When they absorb these countries that have been built up back into the USSR, the Soviet Union, they're going to be better and stronger than they were before the Cold War, after the Cold War, when they were basically defeated, right? They lost the Cold War, all right? But now they're coming back. They're not going away. This thing is not de-escalating. It's about to get real, according to CP here.
The big one is coming, guys. The things are shaping up for a major war in Europe, and we're going to talk about the reasons why. Now, I just listened to a press conference with John Kirby, who basically has said the same thing, that this supposed pullback or retreat, as they're calling it, really it was just a fake out, to attract the Ukrainian troops to that region.
And that's the point. The point that was being made yesterday is that this war is not going anywhere, all right? But the media is using this pullback or whatever to try to say, oh, they're retreating, it's dying down, it's over. And today's video is a recap of yesterday, all right? Same thing.
Occupied while the Russians could go do other things in other parts of the country, and now they're going to go full bore into the Donbass, like we've been talking about for some time now. Now, John Kirby, at around the 40-minute mark of that press conference, indicated that they weren't willing to. A reporter had asked him, the one reporter who asked a tough question throughout that whole press conference, he asked him, with these Bucha war crime allegations, can't we just look at the satellite data to see, because they record, images of what's going on there. And can't we just see the satellite data to see when exactly this happens? Because we know that the Russians had left that area at a certain period of time. And basically Kirby's answer was like, hey, what did you just say? Shut the hell up. Sit down.
Slovakia. All right, this guy's funny.
Felt so close to the disclosure.
Let's watch this.
The Nephilim, the giants.
Okay, whatever.
To be investigating that. We're going to take them on their word, the Ukrainians, that is, and that's the end of story. So take from that what you will. Either way, as we've talked about before, we're not going to sit here and speculate as to what has happened. But indeed, if a crime has happened, typically that crime should be investigated, I would think, don't you? And I think nobody should be against or above the investigation of a very, very serious atrocity that was committed there. Now,
this thing is going to spiral into World War III, and little war crimes, as it may be, right, are going to soon be forgotten in the enormity of what this war is bringing, because the final outcome of the war is mutually assured destruction. Who's going to investigate anything? Okay. Well, let a little more of this play and then we'll go ahead and close it out. But as you can see, things are not de-escalating. They're growing exponentially. This is going to turn into World War III. The countries of the world are being gathered, right, into the war. And at some point in time, from the fourth dimension, another army, the Lord's army, is going to come in and make quick work of all the armies of the earth. All right. So let's watch a bit more of this, and then we'll get Joe out.
What this means is that things are escalating majorly. Now,
What this means is that things are escalating majorly. All right. So if you didn't see yesterday's video, good. This one is explaining it a lot better. And I promise to be more on point and more direct and not as ambiguous.
serious atrocity that was committed there. Now, what this means is that things are escalating.
What this means is that things are escalating. No matter what the Western media propaganda machine is telling you. All right? And they know that. They're trying to lull you back to sleep. They're going to pull out a scandemic or something, right? To divert your attention away from what's really going on. Right? And that's the point.
Majorly. Now,
Majorly.
to add to that, guys, Poland, Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia have decided to close their land borders with Russia and Belarus. The event completely isolates and cuts off the Russian enclave of Kaliningrad with Russia. This is a kind of like a remote part of Russia, which is not connected directly to the landmass. I believe it is in the, it's not in the Baltic Sea. I can't remember what that sea is where they were going to build the pipeline. Not greatest with geography, okay?
The question is were those countries part of the former Soviet Union? Okay. Because if they are, right, we'll do a little research and find out, they will again become the Soviet Union. That is the goal of Vladimir Putin, all right? And that's what's stirring everybody up. Okay, let's get that real quick. Let's see. Let's say Putin. How about this? Putin wants to bring back the Soviet Union as pursuant to Ezekiel 38. That's what was being said yesterday. That's all. Okay? 3 months ago. USSR collapsed 30 years ago. Does Putin want to bring it back? That's what we're watching. All right? Why? Because that is the prophecy. Right? All right? The testimony of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. The testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy. All right? Let's go to it. This is what we were saying yesterday. Let's see. Let's start at 4. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws and bring thee forth. All right, talking about Russia, right? I'm going to turn you back. I'm going to make you fight this war. I'm going to bring you forth. Right? And all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. All right? So this is what we're watching right now. He's putting them back in that old Soviet spirit, right, before the Cold War. All right, because the West slowly started picking them apart with things like their color revolutions. And this is what happened in the Ukraine. They separate them, get them to, defect, if you will, and then install their puppet regime, so that they can do their bidding over there. All right. What's going on in the Ukraine right now? Well, America's doing their bidding. You got bio labs, you got child trafficking, and all sorts of wickedness, right? And Vlad is saying, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to get back to where we were, and by hook or crook. Okay. So this is what we're watching. Slovakia. What was it? Let's go back.
Anyways, this move is declared a cause of war for Russia, something that has been repeated many times, okay? Blocking off the main Russian landmass with their satellite state, or whatever you want to call it, province of Kaliningrad, apparently for them is an act of war. Now they've closed the borders, or they're going to be closing the borders with the Baltic countries, the Baltic states, the far eastern European countries, which are getting primed for war. It does appear that they are getting primed for some major war. Now, the more I listen to people who are in the know, I'm not talking about NBC and CNN and all these, organizations, okay? I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the real people who are in the know about what NATO's capabilities are within that region and the Russian capabilities. And the more I learn about it, guys, the worse it seems for NATO.
Why? Because of this. Because of what it says in the scriptures. And that's all. This is just a war update. Okay? And to point out in the scriptures what's going on. Okay? What is going to happen to all of the missile systems and armaments that are being sent to the Ukraine right now? They're going to fall into the hands of the Russians. A lot of countries are going to turn their back on NATO. A lot of countries are going to turn their back on the United States, on these alliances. All right? That's what we're going to see. All right? What does that say? All right, let's take a look at some of these countries that are already aligned. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them. All of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the House of Togarmah. Hey, Turkey. All right. He's reforming, right? And once they see what kind of trouble that they're in, right? These little countries say, oh shit. Better to be on this guy's side than to fight against him. We see what the United States does. How did Afghanistan become a formidable army? Well, they left all of that gear there. They left billions of dollars worth of armaments and tanks and helicopters right there. Now, which way is Afghanistan gonna go? The stands. Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, right? Who are they gonna fight with? They don't want Russia to come over there and lay them flat. They're gonna play ball, all right? So with that, it's just a little update. Show you what's going on, what the prophecies say, all right? Because the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy, all right? And we're occupied in prophecy, no matter what nobody says. All right, so With that, we'll end it there. We hope that the elect were edified, you brothers and few sisters. With that, we're going to say shalom.